one of my biggest questions when it comes to Conestoga huts, what good have they done me? I mean, let's face it, I'm jobless, I'm living in somebody's backyard, I have 60 square feet to my name. Yeah, it hasn't seemed like it's done much for me, right? Here's the thing. When I lost my home due to being rent evicted, I didn't have the time, the money, or the wherewithal to bother fighting back. I would have ended up on the streets, even though I was fully employed at the time, 12-hour shifts. How crazy is that? Nobody's going to take me in. I have 2 dogs. I spent most of my life as a building manager, which means that I don't actually have any previous rental agreements other than my former business contracts. Not very useful now, is it? Top that off, take things even farther back, I've never in my life had a place to stay for more than a year or 2 at the most. Whether it was foster care, family members, group homes, stability is not something I've ever known, nor is it something I had a choice about. Realistically, if I'm going to blame anybody for the instability that I went through and the traumas that I dealt with as a child, a lot of it was either caused by the government and Children's Aid Society, or me. My family aren't actually responsible for most of my childhood traumas, maybe some of my more later on trauma, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. Anyway, yeah, so realistically, outside of the brief period I spent after the age of 25, when I finally got my shit together after being in jail, then, and only then, did I really start to take control of my life. I got out of jail. I decided to do better for my kid. I became a handyman. I became a building manager. I got paid to live in a 2-bedroom apartment. All I had to do was fix things for people. It was great. I learned how to build. I learned how to construct. I learned how to innovate. I learned how to take my skills as a survivalist and use them as a builder, as a constructor, as an innovator. That was probably the biggest deal of my life. I completely isolated from the world. I shut down from everybody. I focused on me for years. And then I started helping out friends again. I started talking to the world again. I decided to follow my dreams. That didn't work out so well. That went down the shit real fast. And then I realized, you know what? Our dreams went up in smoke. The least I can do is try to carry on that dream for somebody else. Maybe the next generation can pull it off. And thus was born the Conestoga Huts. Out of a dream, out of a loss, out of pain, out of heartbreak, the plan to do better and build bigger and be stronger simply by providing stability. Because honestly, I can take this thing and fuck right off. Right now. All I need to do is know how to drive. I throw this bitch on a wagon and off I go out into the middle of nowhere. See yas, love yas, have a good day. What good does that do anybody? It does me. Great, sure, I'll survive, I'll get along fine. It doesn't help anybody else. So I chose to stay in this hut. And honestly, I'm so comfortable. What's to prevent somebody from staying in this hut? And I've always said, you know, well, it's not an ideal lifestyle. It's not a perfect world. You need a power source to keep heated, or a wood stove, or the capability to use a wood stove. You know what I mean? There's no washroom in here. I thankfully have a house next door to me with a stove and a washroom. If I need to cook food or I need to go in to use the bathroom, I can do that. But I couldn't do that last summer. I couldn't do that last winter. So, yeah, when all is said and done, this has provided me for the first time in my life a level of freedom, something, a choice, an ability to exist without the threat of having to fear for my existence. That is the greatest gift that this Conestoga hut has given me. And it's resulted in what was supposed to be a temporary 1-year thing to prove a point, now having been one of the most magical parts of my life that I don't think I want to give up. I've been through the death of 2 pets. I've lived in some of the most disgusting places in town. I've lived in one of the most beautiful places in town. I've lived on the grid, off the grid. I've picked this house up and moved it across the parking lot. I've done so many things. We've packed it into a U-Haul twice. Moved it across town. Lived in rich neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods. I have freedom. And for those of you who say, oh, well, you know, there's a lot of unhoused people out there that want to be unhoused. They don't want to be in the shelters. They don't want to be in the homes. You're right. I don't want to be in those either. That's why this is here. Sometimes all we need is more options. Every tool in your arsenal is a tool. That tool may not be perfect for everybody. A person with severe disabilities is much more capable of using a drill than a screwdriver, perhaps, especially if those disabilities are motor function based, right? Somebody who has hearing difficulties might not be able to work in a place that requires them to listen for loud noises to keep safe. But if they have the right tool, maybe they can. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. That's why housing is harm reduction. Because housing is a tool to keep people safe and to give people a better potential. I'm now 30, going on 36 years old, and about to finish my 2nd year of living in this thing. And I love it. And I want more people to live happy, healthy, and harm-free. And I'm telling you right now, if I can pull this off, they can pull this off. You can pull this off. I was 18 when I committed the B&E, and 26 when I finally got caught for it. No, sorry, 24 when I finally got caught for it. So like, between 18 and 24, I forgot I even did that. And yet I paid the consequences for it. I got out, and I became a better person because I had somewhere and some skills that allowed me to do that. And that's what these huts would offer. If I didn't have friends, if I didn't have community, if I didn't have a home to go to when I got out of jail, I'd have been up shit creek. Boy, let me tell you, I was well on the way there already. How do you think I got busted for a 6-year-old crime? Because I was already being investigated for a whole slew of other crap I was currently in the process of dealing with. That's just how it goes, you know what I mean? Sometimes things snowball, and you end up in a place you never thought you'd end up. I'll tell you right now, 10 years later, after getting out of jail, do you think I'd have ended up running my own organization that feeds people? Hell no. But here we are. I'm now feeding people, we're housing people, we're advocating for people. We are building a better community. And that is thanks to you. That is thanks to this hut. That is thanks to the people that built this hut. So pat yourselves on the backs, ladies and gentlemen, because you have done something amazing. And now I want to keep that something amazing, growing and expanding and building into a more healthy, a more happy, and a more harm-free community for all of us. Rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight, all of us. Addicted, sober, everyone deserves a home. End of discussion. If you've made it this far, thank you. Check out my merch store if you really want to. These are high quality clothing, by the way, so I'd say grab it up while you can. Thanks. Love ya. Gaz is out.